Now let's discuss about factorization. What is that? Solution of a quadratic equation by factorization. So let's start with a root of a quadratic equation. Now consider the quadratic equation x square minus 3x plus 2 equal to 0. So I am substituting x equal to 1 in this quadratic equation. So first I will write 1 square minus 3 into 1 plus 2. This is 1 minus 3 plus 2, which is equal to 0. So what did I get? 1 plus 2 is 3 and 3 minus 3 is 0. So I can say that 1 satisfies this quadratic equation. In other words, x equal to 1 is the root of this quadratic equation. Or I can also say 1 is the 0 of the quadratic polynomial x square minus 3x plus 2. So in general I can say if alpha is the root of the quadratic equation ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, then alpha should satisfy this equation. I mean to say that a alpha square plus b alpha plus c should be equal to 0. Or I can say alpha is the 0 of the quadratic polynomial ax square plus bx plus c. Finally, I can conclude that root of a quadratic equation or 0 of the same quadratic polynomial are one and the same. Let's learn about factorization. So this is the quadratic equation we have. In general, the quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. The first step in factorization is you should split the coefficient of x into two numbers such that let the two numbers be m and n. Okay. The first step in factorization is you should split the coefficient of x into two numbers such that the sum of the numbers, here the two numbers are m and n, the sum of the numbers should be equal to b, and the product of those two numbers m into n is equal to the product of a and c. So what am I doing? I am splitting the coefficient of x into two numbers m and n such that m plus n will be equal to b and m into n will be equal to a into c. Now let's apply this for this quadratic equation. How do we factorize this? So as I said, the coefficient of x should be split into two numbers. Minus 3 should be split into two numbers such that the sum of the numbers should be equal to minus 3 and the product of the numbers should be equal to product of a and c. Here in this quadratic equation, what is a? The coefficient of x square. This is 1 because the coefficient of x square is 1. And what is b? The coefficient of x is b. So b is equal to minus 3. And what is c? c is 2 here. So I am comparing this quadratic equation to the general form and I am writing the values of a. A is 1 here, b is minus 3 here, c is 2 here. As per the rule, I told you the coefficient of x should be split into two numbers m and n such that the two numbers sum should be equal to minus 3 and here the two numbers product should be equal to 2 here. 2 into 1 is 2, which is equal to AC. So here I should find two numbers in such a way that their sum should be equal to minus 3 and their product should be equal to 2. Now let's start here minus 2 plus minus 1. What is this? Minus 3, because minus 2 minus 1 is minus 3. Now if I multiply minus 2 into minus 1, I will get 2. So minus 2 and minus 1 satisfy these two conditions. So finally I can say that we should find two numbers such that the sum of the numbers should be equal to the coefficient of x and the product of the numbers should be equal to the product of A and C. So you might be doubting that I can write this 2 as 2 into 1. Fine, it is satisfying this. But what is 2 plus 1? Which is 3, which is not equal to B. We should get minus 3 here. So in mind you should think of all the possibilities. First start with small numbers. Whenever we factorize any number, you should follow the same process. Even if you think of possibilities like this, you should think in such a way that the numbers should satisfy these two conditions. Now I'll apply the same logic to get the roots of this quadratic equation. So I have started factorizing. I have split the middle term, minus 3 into minus 2 minus 1. So I will write this x square minus 2x minus x plus 2 is equal to 0. What I did, I have split the middle term into two numbers such that the sum is equal to B and the product should be equal to product of the numbers A and C. Now I'll write x into x minus 2. I took x common here. If I take minus 1 common here for these two numbers, I'll have minus 1 into x minus 2, which is equal to 0. So what I did here, I took x common for these two numbers. I write x into x minus 2, and regarding these two numbers, I took minus 1 common. So I'll have minus 1 into x minus 2, which is equal to 0. So students, x minus 2 is common. So let's take x minus 2 common, and we'll have x, and we'll have minus 1, which is equal to 0. So what I got, x minus 2 into x minus 1 is equal to 0. If the product of two numbers PQ is equal to 0, then either P equal to 0 or Q equal to 0. So I got x minus 2 into x minus 1 is equal to 0. So I can say x minus 2 is equal to 0. I am taking this term, or x minus 1 is equal to 0. I am taking this term. If x minus 2 is equal to 0, what is x? X is 2. If x minus 1 is equal to 0, then what is x? Or x is equal to 1. So I can say 2, 1 are the factors of the quadratic equation x square minus 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. If we substitute 2 in the place of x, we will get 0, or if we substitute 1 in the place of x, we will get 0. Or you can say 2, 1 are the zeros of the polynomial x square minus 3x plus 2.
If you like the video, please hit the like button, comment and share it with your friends. Also don't forget to subscribe for all our future videos.